see how this works. Keep on doing new game by accident.
Sostagaria.
Let's do that. Really need to get used to not hitting that. Excuse me. Hey, what's up, MV? What's going on, MV? How has your Thanksgiving and your Black Friday been? What's going on, Jade? See, did I do in battle save? No. I finished the first battle and I saved right after. Okay, so let's see. Good, I'm glad to hear. I know you need to take some rest because they be working the hell out of you, so hopefully you get some time to relax. So we need to go to the shop and see if I need to replace anything. And I do. But first I need to check my item box and make sure I don't have any weapons here. No weapons, no armor. And I don't need the Nova keys just yet because I'm not going to go in there yet. So I can get rid of this. You can hold on to those. I don't need the mood pie either. What do y'all have for Thanksgiving, MV? Did you do like turkey, all the traditional stuff? You need to share. Let's give an herb there. And another herb here. Okay, so need to go to shop. I needed some new equipment, especially for Clint, since Clint got knocked out last fight. And I'm not really concerned with like whether or not I'm gonna find an item in the battle that I can buy. I'll just sell it. Money's not really an issue in this game. Or I'll keep it for a future party member. So it's better to just like upgrade when you can. And not done any promoting yet because I haven't decided. Although I think I want to keep them both snipers. Excuse me. So maybe I should pull up Yeah, I'll probably go ahead and pull up the map walkthrough just in case. Are you working this weekend too, MV, or you have the weekend off? So the next fight, I do want to make sure I get all the items. And then I can come back here and equip up, so that works. Yeah, we definitely needed to do these defensive upgrades. We should have just enough money to do it. Pretty much everything. 10 short. But what I can do is I can sell this. Yeah. I think I can unequip stuff. I actually don't remember. Yeah, I can. I just have to transfer to somebody else. Ah, I can't. Oh. Hopefully our priest will not be in the line of fire anyways. And I can pick a robe from him, or I can pick up a robe for him after this battle. So, let's see. We're also at the point where I can start doing the promotions. So right now I'm only going to promote Ash. And the promotions they offer some new skills depending on what path you take. But mostly it's like a palette swap and a new attack animation. Which the changes are nice, so I'm not downplaying that at all. Oh, what'd you go to GameStop for? I think this is my favorite. Well, actually, I like all of Ash's attack animations and all of his sprites. So yeah, like I can promote Diego. I'm probably gonna keep them in their magic line, so I can promote them. But it's more just deciding what I want to do with Diego and Kira and Clint and Grog. So I'll wait till after the next battle and make that decision. You gotta go back into work again. Sorry, like so my maybe I'll try to like move more into discussions to Saturday because I'm thinking I might do like I'm not gonna necessarily promise it, but I'm thinking the most conducive schedule for me will be like Wednesday after work, and I work 7 to 4 my time. Oh, game shop, sorry. Um, as far as my quote unquote streaming, I might do Wednesday after work. So after 4 o'clock my time, Friday after work. So typically like around after 4 o'clock my time, and then Saturday morning. I think that seems to be the most regular schedule I would be able to keep. Um, but I'm not sure about whether or not I'm going to be able to do that. So I'm just kind of getting a feel for it right now. It's funny you say that though, I think if I remember right, I got like some free download or something or other of Warhammer 40k. I think it's Tide something or other. Since I bought this PC, I got like an email code with it, and I need to look into it. And the coworker of mine was saying like, "Hey, since you got this new computer, you should look into Warhammer." I forget which one he said though. But I'm sure if I text him, he'll be quick to remind me which one it is. Hey, what's going on, Saki? Did you manage to get some rest after your Thanksgiving day? I know you said the turkey kind of took you out. This is one of the more interesting battles because there's just a lot going on. Not too bad. Got a decent amount of rest. Um, got some cleaning and cooking done this morning. Like made some fried rice first thing in the morning, and I'm kind of relaxing. So it's nice to have like a long weekend to kind of come down. And I figured there's like another topic I wanted to briefly talk about, which was crypto. So I'm waiting to see if Ashley and Protokami are going to be able to pop in, and if they want to discuss crypto, just in terms of a general concept overall, and anybody else that's willing to talk about it. I figure up until Protokami and Ashley are able to pop in, I'll just work through another couple of battles. I think I want to make Amon a Hawkman after all. And he's the guy across the way. Alright, so I have a couple items picked up. One here. I got this chest here. I do not believe there's anything in the aqueduct. Chest here. And then this item here. And I believe that is it. Yep, 2 chests and 2 hidden items. his formation that well. Ah, short. I shall come one step back. Don't want to overextend my people. So, if I remember correctly with this, the battle conditions normally it's just yes, yes, Saki. Yes, there is a diamond beside your name. Now, how very perceptive of you. Really still holding on to that, huh? I think if I remember right with this one, we kind of want to set up to where Dolan is front, or Dolan is working point here, you have Amon right behind him, and then you have Sarah here healing. Yeah, he can take the hits and forces the enemy to come at you one at a time while Amon is able to either finish or weaken the enemies off. The only kind of issue with that is that it can also cause a problem like later on when you're trying to get to this item. So we're probably gonna have to do some kind of bind on one or two of them. I think that is it for now. These guys can't do anything, and yeah, they're just going to advance. So I'll actually figure out which one I want to spellbind later. So I'll let Clint take care of this one since he's a couple behind. good there. I'm going to make sure that now I'll go ahead and put him into position. She'll be able to get there the next turn anyways. And that's not really going to do anything to her. Hold on a second, let me see. Let's see what happened. She got hit from here. But I don't really do that. I'm assuming they came around and hit that. I don't want to do this. Yeah, it was. So yeah, I will go ahead and knock this off. Oh. Hey Audrey, thanks for the raid. Appreciate it. I do not have a shout out command yet. What were you doing? And also, I don't even know if my mic is on. I'm assuming it is. I'm doing alright. Audrey, how are you doing today? Should probably secure that. Let's see what else. Really, I should take her back and get this item now. And if they're gonna hold until later, then I actually can get rid of both of them. And I can just spellbind whenever I get over there. Oh, I can? Okay, let's see. Let's see, did that work? Oh, I spelled it wrong. Cause I'm thinking about the see if that worked. Because I honestly have no clue. I think it did it work or did it not? I can't tell. Yeah. That's what I... Do I have to do that honor? Yeah. That's what I did, but it didn't seem to work. Yeah, spelled it right. I'm assuming it worked. Wasn't even paying attention. So let's see, what do I want to do? Yeah, I'm gonna weaken this one in the back. And let me see if I can move here and that works. I'm not going to attack with him just yet until I get this chest and bring her back around. What I want to do here? I can't tell if the shout out thing worked or not. I'm trying to watch back in the VOD and it doesn't look like it. Okay, so I tried it both ways. It doesn't seem to be actually taking. You said without a space? Yeah, so if I do it without a space, it doesn't recognize it as a command. And if I do it with the space, with the name spelled right, it just eats the text. Hey, what's going on, War 6? How you doing, man? Yeah, there's no space in between that, because if you do slash shout it, that actually brings up the command with the username highlighted for me to input, to where it'll just copy over the username. But it doesn't seem to be taken. That's why I wonder if it has to be an app. It doesn't seem like it actually works for me for whatever reason. Alright, so if I put the app, yeah. If I do that, then it actually says use Alt-Up to select the most recent messages sent by them. So it literally is not actually working. Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do. And it's not taking at all. This is really weird. Because the text just disappears if I anything. Let me try it. Oh, okay, so it works. That's weird. Okay, so interesting. Yeah, so I did that in OBS, but doing it directly in the activity feed so I can see the chat easier doesn't work. That's why I was like, it's just eating the input of me actually typing it in. So it's something that they don't have programmed correctly into their own site, even though it's presumably integrated from there. That's an odd decision. I have to remember that for possible future, and then it doesn't actually work directly from Twitch's site. But anyways, thank you, Saki, and thank you, War6. Appreciate you both being helpful. War6, how are you doing today? How was your Thanksgiving? Who else do I have to heal over here? Just Diego. I might have moved him a little too far. No, I should be close enough. Oh, I forgot. I forgot to do the intro Saki talked about. I was trying to figure out the hell was not working. So, my moniker is DB Stewart. You can call me DB. I'm mostly going to talk about financial and economic news and concepts just for people to have a greater overall understanding. So it's more from an informative point of view rather than, let's say, advisory. Because A, I am not licensed to do financial advice, although I work in finance. So it's more just people keeping up with news that may affect them in their day-to-day lives or over the course of their life. And then besides that, I'll probably be playing a few games and eventually learning guitar and working on doing some sketching that I used to do and possibly doing a cooking stream. We'll see how far that idea goes. But that's about the size of it. And right now I am playing a PS1 tactics game called Band of Hearts. Came out in spring of '97. And if you like Final Fantasy Tactics, it's kind of like a cut down version of it, more simplified version of it. Not to say it's simple, but it's a lot more digestible. But similar in tone and overall feel of the game. I think everybody's good. Yeah, he'll be fine to take an attack. And that's exactly why I didn't try to attack the guy before, so I could take 2 hits and potentially kill him. Because those dudes do a lot of damage. Thankfully those guys in the back are staying there, so I'll be able to spellbind one of them and go pick up that item. So I'll probably hang here, finish these guys off, mostly with Clint, and use that time to get these 2 items. Now that we're actually using this, let's go ahead and do shoutouts for everybody that's in the channel. Which is even kind of weird to call it a channel still. And actually, I don't want to knock him out just yet because I don't want this guy to get killed on the next turn and then Dolan to subsequently get knocked out. So let's see. Start from the top. And make sure this thing actually works. Do I want to heal? I don't want to heal. I'll be fine. Okay, yep, that works. Yeah, so I noticed. Alright, and let me have knock him out first. To get the experience. Pick up the elixir. Alright, let's do... Still inactive. Okay. What are we doing? Coming on here for this? Actually, no, she can't do it because that is a weird thing. Archers cannot pick up boxes for whatever reason. They can pick up items off the ground, but they can't do treasure boxes. So let's try this next one. Should be ready. There it goes. Do I can actually get rid of them, or at least this one now. I don't know what you're trying to say there, Saki. No, I'll chip them off a little bit, but I won't do anything. I won't get rid of them yet because I don't want to move those guys at the far end of the battlefield until Grog gets into position and gets back. So, let's see. Yeah, another couple turns for that. And by then, those guys should be almost dead. So, let's go ahead and turn over. Alright, who's next? Let me do 6. Still active. And let me ask, because I know she can be reticent about it. Jay, do you want a shout out or do you not? If she's still here now. And yeah, definitely thank you for mentioning how to do the shout out, Saki. So, these dudes are already starting to move up. So that means I need to get rid of these dudes immediately. And Grog's probably going to miss out on the battle. Because I want to get Eleni in position to be able to spellbind one of them. Of course, it would help if he made contact. hit should be fine. Everybody else has moved and is healed. And yeah, they're just gonna hold position while these dudes come down. And I race her over here. I'll hold off on giving Jade a shout out just because I know she doesn't necessarily like those. So I'll wait for her to tell me she wants one. See if I'm close enough to spellbind. Not quite. And before I actually take that position, yeah, I don't want to put it right there if I can't do it. See, and I will heal. I can only heal Delvin from here, so I'll do that. I'm assuming all of you have already done your Black Friday shop if you intend to do so today. I can move Huxley still, so yeah. I'll have Huxley heal Ash then. And I don't think I can hit him from here. Yep, still one short. See, Grog got that item, I picked up that item, Sarah got that one, so yeah, all that's left is to spellbind one of these guys. And make a dash for the last item. Okay, so we'll get rid of the ones that are already weakened. If we can actually connect on a hit, that'd be great. So we'll have Lady come up and Piercing Ray. I know you making some Thanksgiving leftovers. Get rid of this dude. And provide a target for him so he doesn't hit Eleni. I think I can hit him from here. Yeah. I got you. Pretty much the same here. All my family is along the East Coast, so I'm out here. Just my roommate currently. And then my friends that live in the area. So she can actually... Hey, it's not bad at all. So, just in case they both decide to hit Ash, I'm going to go ahead and heal him. But at least at the very least, we're not really blocked in, because even if this one comes down and takes a hit, it's probably going to get counterattack and killed. Hey, what's going on, brother Ninja? How you doing? Wants to take out the egg, okay. How was your Thanksgiving, brother Ninja? Oof. That's a hell of a hit. And turkey sitting heavy, make you all sleepy, and paralyzed. Yeah, now rib roast came out great, so got plenty of it to eat. And yeah, besides that, I just made the smoked cheddar mashed potatoes and the veggies. So, not quite like traditional as far as Thanksgiving is concerned, but still a really good meal. Alright, so just because Ash is already the furthest, I'm going to send him after an item. Should be 2 turns. So hopefully this dude doesn't wake up out of paralyzed too quickly, because that is the one thing, is that they can move on the same turn that they get out of the paralyzed. So let's see. Yeah, he should be able to make it there in 2 turns. Honestly, it's really just trying stuff. Like, trying stuff and giving whatever you're making the time to actually cook. Because that was like one of my I'd say one of my bigger issues, like when I first started cooking when I was out of the house, was I would just like not give stuff the proper amount of time. So like I'd be doing like potatoes or whatever, skilled potatoes, but they'd be like barely cooked because I'm like, oh, I can't wait an extra 10 minutes for something to be finished. Like, no, just give it the proper amount of time. Alright, cool. We can get the item and we can move on with the next area. And you really want to grab this because if I remember right, it is one of the key items to get the keys for the Trials of Noah. So let me see. I just want to see who's kind of lowest on the XP totem pole. It looks like Flint. Oh no, Amon. So Amon can finish him off. And honestly, the rib roast I did yesterday, I probably could have even given it another 10 minutes maybe. I mean, it came out a really good medium rare. And 10 minutes would have just like gotten the fat. And the outside's a little bit more caramelized, but I mean, still came out really good. I am happy with it. Let's see if there's anything else I'm missing as far as the stream is concerned. We're already an hour, a little over an hour in. Oh, there you are, Ashley. I don't know why you always coming here so violent, though. You're gonna come in here with the Mo Dukes, and then you're gonna talk about Gasp. And then you're gonna throw the grand punches and still be talking about Gasp. How exactly did I instigate if the very first thing you did was throw 4 emotes at me with fists up? How am I the instigator? How, Sway? Oh yeah, that side eye. No explanation. The game is good. Like I said earlier, I highly recommend it to anybody that like either likes tactics games or you want to get into tactics games. How's the volume on the game? I forgot to ask that. Oh, good. So, do you want to talk a little bit about crypto today? And we're probably going to talk about it more broadly versus what's going on with FTX. But ideally, some of the concepts we'll talk about will be. So that's kind of the thing we're going to get into. I think it is a good topic to discuss, just so people are kind of aware of like what it is and what it isn't. No, I do not say that I am a crypto expert by any means. More, I'm just looking at it from the perspective of where is its place in finance? So, crypto, the best thing about crypto is also kind of the worst thing about crypto. It's decentralized, so that means there's really no governing body that oversees it. There's movements made to do that, but there's no like central bank regulation. There's no like FDIC regulation. So there's good and bad there. The bad is because, like you said, with the potential of there being scams, it can be something that you can put your money into, and your money can disappear. And there's been more than one occasion. There's been several occasions where it's basically just disappeared. So crypto is, that's kind of the question, honestly. You're asking, the underlying question is, what is crypto? Is it something to be used as a sort of replacement to fiat currency, or is it an investment vehicle? So, and when I say fiat currency, that is effectively the currency that rules whatever land that you're in. So, like, fiat currency for the US would be the dollar. Like, it's part of the structure of the way the US runs. In that same vein, like, the euro is a fiat currency, the pound is a fiat currency, the yen is a like, all these are fiat currencies. And so you're asking whether or not, you have to ask whether or not it's going to be transactional. And there are some, like, cities that are trying to do transactions with it, or were trying to do transactions with it, like, a few years ago. I actually recall there was, like, the largest crypto real estate purchase in the US was in Miami, like, a few years ago. And it was for, like, hundreds of thousands, maybe approaching millions. It was something like that, but it was a large sum. You would have to ask Rick Ross and people like that. But there's even been moves to, like, make it used on smaller scales in cities. Like, I know Dallas had some places where they were trying to do crypto as a medium of exchange. But the question kind of starts to come out of the supply chain, to me anyways. So, like, I just gave a brief description of, like, fiat currencies. I haven't really talked about it as an investment vehicle, but part of it, like, the crypto's value is in the underlying technology and the security of it. But that also is what makes it vulnerable to predators at the higher levels of any particular crypto exchange or cryptocurrency. But the way, if you're looking at it as a currency and not a medium or not an investment vehicle, you have to scale back your question not to, like, luxury things, I would say, but you have to think about it from the perspective of, like I said, the supply chain. So let's say it like this, Ashley. Say if you were the billionaire heir to a farm or a series of farms or a construction company or a shipping magnate or a logging company, like, and your family fortune is in dollars or euros or pounds or whatever the case. And then somebody came around and said they wanted to make a purchase from you for your product. And they said it's a digital currency and I want to buy your X amount of your product because me and 1 million or 2 million other people believe that this digital currency has a worth equal to, like, dollars. How would you respond in that case? I know it's not. I'm not trying to be tricky with the question. Like, if you, yeah, how would you respond if you were, like, like an heir to a basic human necessity, like a farm, and somebody was like, I wanted to buy $1 million of your whatever you produce on this farm, but I don't want to buy it in dollars. I want to buy it with this cryptocurrency. And see, that's my whole thing with it, is that like, if you're one of the people that owns these things that are basic to human necessity, it doesn't behoove you to, exactly, it doesn't behoove you to like take some random currency that you can't use, especially one that's digital and it doesn't have any value, any hard tangible value outside of like the belief of it. It makes it like you can hold on to it as a way to monitor it, but in terms of like exchanging more of your product over the long term for that, as opposed to a currency that you use readily on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't make quite as much sense. Unless Saki has another idea or opinion. Saki. So that's ultimately one of my primary questions with crypto as a currency, as opposed to an investment vehicle, is if you're one of the producers or owners of a base human necessity, does it make sense for you to take all or even most of your payment in a cryptocurrency? And then if you work down the supply chain, like, it becomes more viable. But do I? I do not. Like, if I had, I would have, it would have been something like, I would have tried to get into Bitcoin before it blew up, rode the wave up, and then I would have tried to sell my position at that point. Because again, it's like, I can't guarantee that I can buy my human necessities in Bitcoin, but if I sell it out back in dollars, I can guarantee that I can buy stuff in that. That said, I do not think it is wholly unfeasible for Bitcoin to, yeah, I know, so I can just say in there, you know, the looks like he's giving. That's Saki right now. Now, all that said, it's not that I think it's wholly impossible for it to be used as a day-to-day currency. And that's kind of how it functions now, because the case in which I think it becomes better, and this is not to speak of places where you have destabilization, because those are the places where crypto can thrive, like towards Eastern Europe, and I can't remember the other places, but that's kind of where people have been putting their money away into crypto if there's been a lot of instability in the region, as a way to like be able to protect their money or their assets. But eventually they're probably going to want to exchange it for some other currency that they can use readily, not necessarily like their local currency. They might move elsewhere. Like, say if you're in Ukraine, you might, if possible, put your money into crypto, move to, let's say, Germany if you could, and then try to pull your money back out in euros. Because just like I said, you can't necessarily guarantee that you can use Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever cryptocurrency readily for your day-to-day needs. The question I have regarding whether or not crypto can be used in that sense is it's a bit of a two-part question to me in terms of or a two-part answer, I should say. So, where crypto I think would be most beneficial in a day-to-day sense would be if one of the primary fiat currencies was no longer viable as such. And what I mean by that is you're talking about something akin to a societal collapse, at least for that region, and a very large shift in the makeup of society. So, like this Ukraine and Russia thing, if there's an outsized effect on Ukrainian currency, it's not going to have a global effect. If you see my point, like, even though there's a lot of things happening in that region, like the euro, the dollar, the pound, the yen, these all still exist. So they're not just falling off. It would seem to me that for that to come into that kind of position, you would have to have one of these like primary currencies have a monumental shift. And at that point, you're talking about, well, that's my point though, is that one of those would have to fall. And you would have to not necessarily have ready access to those other currencies, but maybe you have access to being able to put your money into crypto. And that is a potential situation where I can see crypto gaining a foothold as a day-to-day currency. But at that point, are you really worried about it in that same regard anyways? Because you're talking about a relatively massive political destabilization. And that's a whole other topic that I don't really want to broach, because that can be any number of things. But that's my general point, is that it's really going to be hard for crypto, I think, to supplant one of the base currencies, because the people that are generally have the most power within their regions or their realms, it doesn't behoove them to suddenly put all their money or a significant portion of their capital or their wealth into crypto. It makes sense for them to put enough in it to be able to keep an eye on it, and just in case something happens, they're still taken care of. But the bulk of it is another question. So Saki, since you decided to enter the discussion, what are your thoughts? Uh-huh. So let me see what I need for the next battle. Alright, the next battle is also a key item battle. So we won't pick that up. I think we do need a Birdman for that. So Amon would usually be my Birdman. I mean, Saki, you did chime in that those are fiat currency, so technically you did enter the conversation. Let's go ahead and do that again. And because we're already about an hour and a half in, so yeah, it'll probably be drop that mood ring. I think that mood ring casts Paralyze. Actually, yeah, I can look right here. But I can sell the moon ring and get some money off it, which is probably what I'll do because it's worth more being sold. But since Saki doesn't want to quote unquote contribute, like, do you see kind of what I'm saying as far as like its usefulness in the day-to-day sense at the moment? Right? She's sitting there in the back looking like, mm-hmm. And then you ask her, like, hey, I mean, you can ask her, and she's like, no, I'm alright. Okay, Saki. But Brother Ninja actually needs kind of see like where I'm coming from as far as how crypto can be used as a Saki always keeping her like little information. Pretend you are not here. Why are you making those faces like that? Pretend she's not here, she says. And like I said, that's not to say that crypto is not useful. Any crypto is not useful. It's more just to say, like, kind of be mindful of what you're looking at crypto as, in terms of like, are you using it as a financial tool, and what kind of tool? Because like, there's been several crypto exchanges that have kind of turned out to be scams. You can look one up in. Actually, I still need to do research to see if it was resolved. I don't know that it was. When there was one in Turkey, I want to say like 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, where I believe the owner disappeared with like $2 billion. And obviously there were questions about like, hey, where did this dude go with the $2 billion that people had put into it? And the last I read was he made a statement, I don't know who threw or where the statement came from, but he wasn't in Turkey, I think, at the time. But he made a statement that was like, oh, I didn't disappear with the money, I'm doing something else with it, and then I have not been able to find anything else on that story since, like whether he returned it or whether he's still just gone to the wind. I have no clue. Well, that's kind of like what I want to do is I want to be like, hey, like, these are some concepts to kind of be mindful of, so you don't like hear all this stuff and put all your money into something and end up getting screwed because everybody else around you was making it seem like a good idea, or you were seeing online to seem like a good idea, and it's like, well, I need kind of to look at it from a bit of a bigger perspective. Yeah, and it's like, unfortunately, it is kind of to a degree like, oh, now you have to start your life all over again if that's the case. Not like wholly all over again, but it's definitely a very big setback. And I think Clint dying is potentially a fail here. Oh no, just Ash. Okay, good. That makes it easier. So we are coming up against flyers again. And also, if you saw what the kid said in the last stream, said I dropped a strange looking plant at a cross shaped ball. So basically here is where we have to search for an item to give to the kid. I don't think there's another place in this map to search. I think it's just that. But thankfully these two are not super far over here. But we want to like regroup and clean that up and then make our way up here. And I think one of the things I was thinking about talking about next time was kind of like some basic terms as far as like the stock market goes, like what shorting is, what going long is, calls, puts, stuff like that. Like nothing too crazy, but like just what some basic financial terminology that you would see in the news means. As it can get very, very intricate in terms of the terminology very fast. Like there's synthetic short selling, there's iron butterflies, there are a host of terms in the stock world. So I just want to kind of like do some of the basics and say like, I think I'll probably pull up some visuals and kind of say like, this is what it means and this is how like you can be affected in A, B, or C scenario. And I feel like that would be kind of useful. Yeah, I'm gonna do it right there. And again, it's not I'm like giving quote unquote financial advice, but it's more like, all right, if you read about a group of investors doing this or doing that, now you kind of be like, okay, now I know what you guys are doing. But as far as crypto, I don't have too much more to say as far as a basic overview. I was hoping that Saki would take the bait and join in the conversation, but she seems to be abstaining from sharing her thoughts on the matter. Imagine that. I'm asking like, hey, what are you thinking? It's just like, no, I don't want to tell you. Shame. That's a shame. Let me double check that that's the only item. Big hit. Yep, just the hidden item. Alright, so like I mentioned in the previous one, I think actually way back at the beginning, I'm judging, okay. Like I mentioned in the previous one, the flyers. There is the triangle of advantages as far as sword, flyer, and archer. So, and archer is strong as flyer. So I definitely want to use them to protect my swordsman. If he can ever freaking hit somebody, that would be amazing if he can finally do that. How much life does he have? I want to see if I can leave this battle with most people being around level 12. 11 and 12. So that should be possible. Amon is kind of the one lagging in that regard. Pull back a little bit with Ash. And move here with Huxley just to keep him from being vulnerable. The one problem with flyers is that they can pass through your units. Which, I mean, it makes sense because they're effectively flying overhead, so I get that, but kind of shelving off your units to like keep them from being attacked from too many sides is a bit difficult because of that. So I just want to make sure I take at least one of these guys. So that way, if they go for Grog, he's not getting into melee. In fact, I'll probably just, let me see what their movement radius is. So they cannot get to Ash. So what I'll do is, I'll set up here to keep them from getting too many sides on Grog. So they can only hit him from one side, so they shouldn't be able to kill him unless one gets killed first, then that's a possibility. In which case, I'll use Mystic Shield. And let me see what this one's movement is. Yeah, this one can come all the way across. And I don't think it can reach Lady. It cannot, but I also cannot move Grog to cover her two sides. Because he'll be, well no, he'll still only be able to get attacked from. But then again, it doesn't really matter, she's going to get hit from two sides either way. Let me see what items he has. Let me see, this one can come up on his backside. I think I'll just hold here for now. And what we'll probably do is we'll actually, now that we've regrouped, we'll work this way. So we can get this item and let them just trail us all the way up. If they want to poison themselves, so much better. A little bit of a loss of XP, but I'm not really spreading that too bad. See, Amen, if you would have killed him in the first place, you wouldn't be dealing with that. Good block. I will say there's possibly one more reason for crypto. And that's kind of a roughly advanced financial strategy called arbitrage. No, that's also something that's really hard to take advantage of in like smaller amounts. And since it has to do with currency, I can actually go ahead and talk about that as well. So arbitrage is kind of like what you might have seen people do on Amazon or eBay or whatever the case, where like you go buy something and then you go sell it at a profit. You can do that with currencies as well through exchanges. So for instance, if usually it's like a three currency exchange that you're considering doing something like that with. When using the examples we talked about, like you would say go from dollars, and I think what the yen is 50% cheaper right now, or last time I checked it was. I would have to double check the yen to pound. It would be something like, let's say you would go from dollars to pounds, you would exchange pounds to yen, you would exchange yen back to dollars. And ideally you do that so you make some kind of a profit. The profit is relatively minimal. So you want to do that with large numbers, like millions of dollars on the kinds of things that you do that with. That said, that potentially is something you can practice if you're using crypto across a number of exchanges, but for like your normal person, it's not really beneficial just because the amount of attention you would have to pay to it is not really conducive to like the profit you would get out of it. But that is something that could be another use for crypto if you were to like come across a large sum of money. So I don't want to discount it as something that exists, but just kind of remark on the viability of it. So taking this deed out, that severely like lessens the danger potential of these four. And this deed is still just hanging out, which is just so much better for us like getting the item. And I want to make sure I get I'm moving there. I'll make sure I get my people up this way, so that we can maneuver to get the item a little bit faster. So who else needs healing? It's those two, and Amon. Amon will be fine where he is. I healed myself. That was a mistake. The hell emote is that? What's going on, Art? What the hell is that? actually just talking about crypto arc and kind of its usefulness in terms of like currency versus an investment vehicle. And we mostly talked about currency, so we should probably talk about the investment vehicle angle. So as far as it being an investment vehicle, it can be useful probably long term, like any other kind of investment. For instance, like if you buy stock in Johnson and Johnson, you're not like going out and necessarily selling that to somebody else. As far as like the stock itself, it's just an investment vehicle to grow your asset. So I kind of want to hit him with Spellbind, but I'll hit just do with Spellbind. Actually, I don't even know if I can double. Can I double status somebody? I can. That works. We'll keep him there. Yeah, that's one of the things we didn't really touch upon, is that crypto has been used for very shady transactions as well. We mostly talked about it from like a legitimate standpoint and the usefulness from like the average everyday person. But it has been used in terms of money laundering as well. So we were mostly saying like if you're part of the upper crust that owns something that contributes to basic human necessity, it doesn't make sense for you to like then dump all your money into crypto. And generally the answer is no. So that kind of severely limits its usefulness. Oh, I might lose my archer. Yep, I did lose my archer. Well, but then, so this is true, but we were saying, or I was talking more about like, if you're just trying to purchase stuff in your everyday life, like how useful is it to you? It's more the question we were doing before. But yes, it is very useful for safely, quote unquote, transacting. That I did not know. Actually, I think everybody else is pretty much saying stuff anyway. And these three have lined up perfectly for a nice little spell cast. Well, and that's kind of the that's kind of things that like it seems a lot of people like to talk about it in a day-to-day kind of sense, like are not realizing that it's not really applicable to like their day-to-day lives. As you said earlier, the usefulness of it is, or the application of it is pretty narrow, and in a practical sense, most people aren't in a position where the applications really would have any effect on them anyway. Exactly. And that's kind of what we were talking about, is that like, it's not a terrible thing, but be aware of like how useful it actually is. Pretty much. Because that was one of the points we were making earlier, that like if you're doing all this work into trying to invest it in or doing arbitrage or whatever the case may be, however you're trying to use it, the problem is that in order to maximize the usefulness of it, you have to put a lot of time into it, and for most people, the return you're going to get on that time that you're putting into it is going to be relatively minuscule. Like you could end up spending your time doing something else and come out way better. Let's see who needs a heal. Besides Amen. Amen and Bro. And I mean, if you were to break it down into an hourly session, the question can also become, like, how much is your time worth to you on an hourly basis? I think everybody has moved. And I'm probably going to have to spellbind this guy, because these are either going to die from poison or get themselves killed. Oh, that's kind of the unfortunate part, is that most investment at this point, it's not nearly as secure as, especially with pensions not being quite as big a thing anymore, it's not nearly as secure as it once was, to where you just don't have to like pay attention to it. You kind of have to pay attention to the majority of your moves. So, even more so than 20 or 30 years ago, especially longer than that, you have to be kind of more informed about what the financial world offers and what it does not. Okay, I want to spellbind this dude. This guy is gonna die to poison, so is this dude, and he will eventually, so. Again, I am sending Ash on a treasure hunt. And this dude just kind of pisses me off, so I'm gonna get rid of him. And we might as well make use out of these dudes. So get experience where we can. Especially Amon needs it a lot. Should be able to shoot over. And Kira was a level ahead, so we're fine there. What else we have? I think most everybody. So Clint and really just Clint and Huxley need to be healed. I keep on choosing the wrong person to heal. And almost at 2 hours, so probably finish it up after this fight. And like I could attack this dude, but like I said, I want to keep him alive for one more turn. Yeah. You think so? And there's our strange fruit that the kid lost. It's a banana. Yeah, this is true. There's a couple other games that I've been now we'll be playing. And this is more just like a good backdrop to the topic of like being able to talk financial economics because I'm familiar with the game. Where I don't necessarily have to pay as much attention to the story or what's going on because I've been there before. So I can like play the game and talk about stuff and still have something visually appealing while we're talking about whatever subject. Because like the other games I was thinking about playing, I would definitely not be having quite an in-depth discussion because I want to focus on what I was doing more. I'm going back to this. Have I heard of Darkest Dungeon or his art? I've heard of it, I've never played it. But I'll show one of the other games I was like looking at playing it. There was this and Radiant Historia and Dragon Quest VIII. Yeah, I've already gotten both of those games set up and tested them a bit, so I know that they work. And here, a game that even touches on mistranslations. But have you played Dragon Quest VIII before, Brother Ninja? It's an interesting game. I like kind of all games. So like, and this depends on if there's a topic for conversation and how interested people are in it. Like, I could play Madden and talk about like the NFL, or especially I could play NBA 2K and talk like historically about the NBA in a lot of cases. So I guess it really just depends on like the context of that conversation. Well, and especially I want to say ultimately like when we're having the financial or economic discussions, to me that takes precedence over everything else, and that's kind of a core reason why I wanted to like do this anyway. So, like in that case, I would much rather be able to like I said, just have something going that's kind of visually appealing, but have the discussion be able to be had, rather than like try to focus on something that's gonna, I guess, entertain more so than anything else. But have either of you ever heard of Radiant Historia? Hmm. Alright. It's actually a really interesting game, actually. Okay, so we got that, so let's. We did do the save, but I'm just gonna go and exchange out the item with the village youth. Yeah, found a weird banana for him. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm sitting in a poison bog, so I can't eat it, but here you go. And the key there, so that gives us a second trial key. So that's where you want to explore the maps for like either particular spaces that look like something to check out, or where you want to like use a bit of information you got from a villager, or whatever the case may be, for knowledge on where to search. So we are all saved up. So let's go into Radiant Historia. And I guess we'll do that for a little while, and then they'll call that a day. It's only 5:30. Yeah. Yeah, what am I looking for? Get rid of that. No, that's not it. There we go. I don't think I put that on my desktop, did I? So this is a DS game, so that's why the screen is going to be a little weird. There's not really much I can do about that. It's just the format of a DS game. Oh, hey Jess, how you doing? You just missed the economic and financial part of the discussion. So, thankfully, like if you're interested, I still haven't really done too much with the game, and I don't know if I can make it like. Yeah, that might work. Let's see. Let's play around with it a little bit. Yeah, and vertical is just that. That's the natural layout. hybrid. You could do hybrid. But I would want to... Actually, how does that work? This is a DS game, Jess, so it's not going to be like extraordinary. Like how it looks on the smaller screens on the right. It's pretty much how it just looks. I don't think I can... can move down here so that isn't obscured. And yeah, I can look, but it's not going to look much better than it does right now, if I'm being honest. No, it's actually on top of my monitor. I do have a tripod, but it's kind of large, so. And I thought about actually putting it on, like, doing a little mounted shelf, but I wanted to like play with the angle a little bit, see if I liked it before I started like affixing stuff to the walls. Yeah, I don't think I can do much for the reservation, so it kind of just is what it is. Oh, but now that I know that this works, forgot to do that earlier. Yeah, I'm learning stuff every stream. So just this game is called Radiant Historia. It's a DS game. And I've seen gameplay of it. It has some unique battle strategies. You know, every stream will be test stream number. Like test number 506. I mean, if we're gonna be scientific about it, that's a very low amount of tests. And I know Saki is still here. She's gonna be like, you should be reading all this dialogue, so I guess I should start doing that. Listen, I saw General Hugo the other day. Ooh, I'm jealous. Just a repeat of that. In fact, let me also do let me turn on my voice against the game. Let's go to and let me also do how's my voice now? Still low? Is my voice still low, Jess? Or is that better? Let's see the next dialogue. Can I use this now? Let me see. The city of Alistar is always pleasant thanks to Thaumaturg power, but I hear that Thaumaturg isn't used much in Gnorc. How is that, Jess? Good? Alright, thank you. And while I'm remembering stuff. What exists in the past? You don't know? And then farewell. Let's see. I haven't even really looked at the items at all. Ashley, speaking of Ashley, since you always talk about me making stuff, you never actually answered my question, Ashley. You're talking about you want some prime rib. Are you going to eat medium rare, Ashley? That's the question. And I ain't about to give you no prime rib, and you're about to be eating it mid-well to well. Like, sorry, that just ain't happening. You didn't see the pictures, Jess? Jess, did you see the pictures though? Would you like to see them now on stream? I would rephrase that phrase you just typed, Ashley. So... Ashley, I am personally offended by what you said. So you can always put it back on the grill for 4 more minutes and add A1 steak sauce? Is that what you just said to me? Alright, turn around real quick, Jess. I'll tell you when to turn back around. Alright, Jess, you can turn back around. So, this is what I made yesterday. So, this is a... You want me to full screen each one? Like... That's the biggest I can get. So this is a compound butter I made. It was fresh minced garlic, some softened butter, about a stick and a half, a little salt, rosemary, and fresh thyme. And I applied liberally to my 5-pound prime rib to top and both sides. What I did in the morning was, in the morning around like 9:30, I stabbed a bunch of holes in it and stuffed it with about I stuffed it with about a head of garlic, and then hit it with a little salt and let it sit out till I got home to cook. So it would be all up to room temperature to make the cooking easier. So there wasn't any frozen parts like in the middle still. So this happened. The butter happened about 8 hours later. Then after the butter, then Montreal steak seasoning again on both sides and on the top. Applied not too heavily, but we'll say liberally again. We'll use liberally as a term. And then while I'm still remembering this, I think I just did arc. Yeah, I just did arc. That is the seasoning. It was Montreal steak seasoning. It's like a mixture of seasonings. So this was before it went in. Oh, that was just those three pictures. I didn't know what that was. So this is after it came out. So crust had just started to caramelize. Had some drippings come out that I used to make a red wine au jus. And that's just the meat thermometer double checking the temperature. And then there's the first cut. So pretty solid mid-rare. Like red, well, maybe rare to mid-rare. But yeah, there's like some of the studded garlic that you see still came out on the half. And this is after it sat for about 20 minutes. And then that was just my plate. So the roasted vegetables, smoked cheddar mashed potatoes, the red wine au jus, and the prime rib. The au jus was pretty good. So basically the au jus was, I used the drippings from the pan and I deglazed it while it was still in the pan with red wine. In a separate skillet, I did just a kind of quick roux of melted butter and add a little flour, stirred it up until it was fully incorporated. And then I poured the mixture that you saw in the bottom of the pan into the skillet, turned it up so it would reduce, and I added some beef stock. And then just stirred a bit. So it's basically an au jus is basically like the juice, the drippings from the beef itself, and just you're reincorporating and intensifying into like a strengthened beef flavor that you then dip your steak back into. So you're not like wasting any of the So basically all of this is still left. Well, like from, if you see this like piece of twine right here, from here and this way, it's still left. So yeah, I'm gonna be working on that, and then like I haven't eaten any yet today though. Like this morning, I just made a quick fried rice. Then I had some white rice sitting around. These were Umbi. I believe Omi made the pies. Yeah. Looks like blueberry. Either blue or blackberry. And cherry. And this looks like a chocolate satin pie. So it's kind of like a Hershey pie. Or actually, basically, a Hershey pie is like a toned down version of this. Yeah, here it says blueberry, cherry, and chocolate. I think that's. And then yeah, here's like Lila's food. Her doing the greens. And Ashley Gator. And well, this is like a couple of weeks ago, so yeah, Solana was the first person to do the Thanksgiving stuff. What other figure? Like that was it? Oh, you mean down here? I think that's it. That's not even Thanksgiving, Ashley. This was 2 weeks ago. Current food. But you got me all in Saki's Discord and whatnot. And then this is the only other thing I made some fried rice this morning. And that's about the size of it. That would be a Kir Royale, Jess. It's basically champagne with a black currant liqueur. So kind of like a mimosa. But instead of juice, you just have more liquor. Me? Any black currant cordial that you can find. There's not any specific one. Not like the Kuipers or anything like that. Sweet or savory breakfast, it depends. If I'm doing like French toast or waffle, those are sweet obviously. If I do oatmeal, like I do that. Not out of a packet, I just do that from scratch, and I usually add a little brown sugar and honey to it, so it has a bit of a sweetness, but it's primarily apple cinnamon. I would say my standard breakfast is actually like scrambled or boiled eggs, couple slices of bacon with roasted tomatoes and onions, and sometimes I'll do like a kind of like a mini parfait, so granola, like vanilla Greek yogurt, and some berries. No, I am kind of tossing around the idea of doing some eggs Benedict at home. It's been years since I've done eggs Benedict at home. I might not look it, but I'm in the military. I'm an engineer. But I was thinking about doing, because I haven't really used my my smoker attachment on my grill yet. So I was thinking about doing either a smoked salmon eggs Benedict or a chicken fried lobster eggs Benedict. this is the second ward of Alistar. This country was founded about 70 years ago by followers of the Prophet Noah. The Prophet Noah is the only saintly being on this world. You hear lots of stories when you hang out in the tavern. Alcohol brings out the truth. Hey, do you know the Desert Crows, the noble bandits? The other day I was walking around Laswell Hills with my dad. We were attacked by a monster, and the Desert Crows saved us. I was scared, but they were so cool. I think that works. Hello, handsome. Care to share a drink with me? I hear the war is getting worse. I wonder if that's the reason why all the soldiers in the city have been so arrogant. Were you like a cereal kind of dude, Brother Ninja? Come on in. The war's made things harder to come by. But sales of alcohol always goes up in times like these. Ivan's so mean. He says I have to play the part of Queen Protea. Queen Protea is the evil Queen of Grenor. When I told Anna she should be Queen Protea, she got really mad. I thought it'd be the perfect role for her. What a wonderful day. What's the matter? Roads closed, seats taken. Oh, so yeah, with grits, I haven't made grits in a while either, but the way I like to do grits was jalapeno cheddar bacon grits, and with like some seared barbecue strip on top of it. The Gutrons and Satyros live on this continent along with humans. They're the beast kind. They say that Dominate power is bad. But I'd never want to live without it like they do. I'm not like a sweet kind of person, and if I want something sweet like that, I would just make oatmeal anyway, so that's kind of what I go for. The beast kind live on this continent along with humans. They don't like us, so we don't interact much. It's disappointing. Alistair doesn't have a very good relationship with beast kind. You blame your upbringing? My mother told me that we have to be patient with a lot of things because we're at war. But what does that mean? Where is war? And why can't we leave? It's a good question, kid. We will protect Alistair. Grenor will be defeated. This is the first ward of Alistair. You'll reach Laswell Hills if you go south from here. General store is over there. Good place for getting travel supplies. I'm probably not going to read everything the NPCs say because obviously being an RPG there's a ton of NPCs. And now I'll just get exhausted. So probably skip NPC chatter as far as me reading it out loud. If we pull this off, things might start to go our way in the war, right? Most likely. Well, alright then. Let's do this. Come on, Mark, let's go. Okay, I'll do my best. Stop. Rosh. Cold as ice. I don't mind when you're like that with me, but you shouldn't be so curt with the other guys. Hey, are you heading out on a mission? Ashley, we need to talk. Expecting, I can't even speak right now. A spec int job, huh? Ashley, have you ever had eggs Benedict? Alright, Raj, with it. What are you trying to say? This mission is dangerous, Stock. Highly disliked. Not just disliked, highly disliked. And that's nothing new. All of my missions are dangerous. It's more than that. What I'm getting at is I just have a bad feeling about this one. The holidays, bleh. See, this game has some really good music. Some of it's nice, kind of chill and chipper, and then you have appropriately atmospheric music. I've seen a lot of soldiers die in my time. Every time it happened, I always got this exact feeling. I can always tell the one's about to die off. I can smell death on them. And you smell it on me now. That's right. What I'm sensing from you is nothing good. Even if you happen to survive, you'll be left with something like this armor mine. You're calm. They're doing amazing things with Thaumaturg. I'll spend the rest of my life with this armor. And having a life to spend, that makes me lucky. I know, right, Brother Ninja? You don't want to end up like this, do you? That vision I had earlier of Rainy and Marco with depths. Does Rosh permanency have anything to do with that? And if so, am I also going to die? No, see, Ashley, all you have to do is we have to expand your power. We have to, like, expose you to stuff, and you be good. Yeah, what is it? What is it? Listen to you. You are scared white. White. I really got you, didn't I? If so, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't that. It's something else. Listen, don't worry about it. Alright then. I know you anyway. No matter how much I argue against it, you'll still go off on the mission. Our victory or defeat could hang on this mission. I won't fail. I can't. I hear you. That's the way things are, I guess. Ashley, you realize that when you talk about we talked about New York, because Audrey lives there, you live where you live, and it was like, okay, let's go check out New York a while. Now you realize food is a part of the experience of the city. And you talk about kicking it, and then you're gonna be like, but I don't eat this stuff. Like, no, homie, that's not how it works. Like, you ain't about to be talking about we're gonna hang out and then I'm over here eating dry ass chicken and some dry ass greens with a dry ass biscuit. Oh man. uh. uh. Just, I ain't trying to bust Ashley out, but I'm just saying, like, ask her about some of her preferences. I think you were there for some of them preferences. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to dog her out. I'm just saying, we need you to expand, slowly but surely. We need growth. Except for a medium rare steak, which you would take from me and then you would cook further and you would throw A1 steak sauce on it. That's what you told me. Hey Holly, thanks for the raid. And Conk and Prado and Mercy and Techie, hey, how are you all doing? And damn, a lot of people. Desi, Spark, and the Crocodile. And Repa and Alec and Robin. Damn, they know a lot of people. I think I said Bitter already, and Meta, Techie. Solana, weren't you already here? No, you weren't. And Odd and Green Tea. Oh, did you beat her a cart? I'm assuming she played a cart. Everything counts. First, let me do this. So how was the end of Link to the Past? I had you on my tablet, but I have been doing a lot of talking. See, Arthur knows. Arthur knows. Medium rare. That's not the only way to eat steak, but that is the correct way to eat steak. The stream's going pretty good. We were actually talking about the viability of cryptocurrency in terms of it being a day-to-day currency versus an investment vehicle. I'm gonna say we spent about 40 or so, 45 minutes talking about that while we were playing Vandal Hearts. And now we're just popping into Radiant Historia a little bit. It's a DS game. It actually has a really nice story. I haven't played it before, but I've been familiar with it. And it has a really nice story and a battle system. So I don't stream, Alec. This is a test. Test number 5, I believe. And I only started doing testing last Wednesday. You won in Mario Kart? I should make Kali a mod? Is that what you're saying? I have to show them my stick. Yeah, this is the test stream. Here. I think I put it in their Discord, so I'm pretty sure most people saw the stake that are here already anyways. Yeah, I think everybody that's here has seen the stake, except for maybe Bitter. But if you're that insistent on it, Ashley. After we did the financial talk, we were just talking about the oh, sorry. Let me turn that off. How's that? Better or worse? I would assume better. Maybe. And this is why this is a test stream and not an actual one. That's probably why. Let's see. How's that now? Is that better? Alright, that's about as high as I can go, I believe. Without getting too crazy, so. Alright, that works. So, here, I'll show what Ashley wanted me to show really quick. So this is what I did for Thanksgiving. I made a compound butter with minced garlic, thyme, and rosemary, and a little salt. And I applied it to my rib roast. After I infused it with garlic for about 8 hours, I put about a head of garlic into it at 9:30, then covered it with butter at like 5:30, then covered it with Montreal steak seasoning right after, and then after about 75 minutes of cooking, let it sit for a while. For about 20 minutes, I think I let it rest, and then the first cut. So, like just about rare to mid-rare, which is about what you want on a prime rib anyways. And then that was just the plate I had with the smoked cheddar mashed potatoes and the roasted carrots and asparagus. And then the red wine au jus. I refuse to send plates to the community. Okay. Anyway, besides that, yeah, we were talking about cryptocurrencies, and how to, like, they're viable for the everyday person, and where their place is in terms of can they supplant fiat currencies and what would it take for that to occur. And now we're playing Reigning Historia a little bit. So I'm assuming that there's a whole lot of card going on, and saying Conk said he won and Green Tea said he beat Holly, so I'm guessing was it just Conk that beat him? So we didn't talk about the Bankman Fried drama or free dramas in particular, but more just like this is kind of what you need to think of whenever you're thinking about a cryptocurrency. Because for the moment I didn't want to like get bogged down in the specifics, but talk about things a little more broadly, and then like at a later date start to dive into specifics of topics. But I think the next topic, I don't even know what that is, but you'll have to ask somebody else. So, I went to no such event. The only event I went to in Chicago was a Combo Breaker. What's my... That's not it. There. So yeah, I don't know. Trying to make it out like I was doing stuff I wasn't doing, Mo. All I did was go to Combo Breaker and check out Chicago. First time there, had to see the city. You need a witness. A witness to what? I don't know why you be out here lying, Mo. And then Saki out here co-signing the lie, though. And I definitely do not have a harem, so you can go ahead and kill that. Don't listen to him, Brother Ninja. You're on the wrong side of the lies. Do I need to do this? Okay, no, you don't need to do it. So basically, like, the way these battles work is you and the enemies are on grids. And you can actually create combos based on where enemies are on the grid and how you position them. So there's actually like a lot of thought that goes into what's going on. So like for enemies towards the front of the grid, they're going to do more damage. If they're towards the back, they're going to do less damage. But also some moves can only do so, or they can only be done at a certain place. So like if I do this push assault, it doesn't really do anything because he's already in the back row. And I think I can, yeah, I can change positions. So right now we'll just attack. But if I remember right, also when you change positions, it weakens the defense of the person that changed, and it increases their offense. I mean, Saki is the one with all the husbandos. She even has a command for it, so I don't know why you're talking about me. Yeah, Saki's harem is the whole of the Miami Heat. Because that's how much money she has. The millionaires are what make up her harem. Yeah, like that Deus scene from Breath of Fire 4. A bunch of dudes in bow ties, shirtless with just the pants. And I want to just kind of get this game rolling a bit, and then I'll probably end it. So I guess I'll probably go another 30 or so minutes. That should be enough. And I guess next time I'll start reading dialogue as Saki commanded. I just already been speaking for 2 hours, so it's a little much. And there's so much talking. Oh, and I forgot to say thank you for following Arthur, Cog, Green Tea, Repa, Alec, and Bitter. I still don't have alerts either, so this is what we test. Yeah. Yeah, this is a DS game called Radiant Historia. I mean, it's working pretty well so far. Oh, you're seeing it, so it's working pretty well. You enjoy the game, Saki. I forgot I'm not even in full screen. But yeah, this is the new computer I got, Mo. With Ghost Pilot's help. Yeah, actually, I can give you the direct link to it, because I was talking about doing a build with Ghost Pilot, and I had purchased a motherboard and CPU. And while we were talking about it, I came across this for sale. And we were like, hey, it's at such a deep discount, like you might as well get it, because any potential common issues you're going to be able to replace with parts for cheaper than it would be to like get all these things together. So like I got that on sale for 1,200 open bucks, and that's why he was like, you should go ahead and get that like as soon as you can. Excuse me. Oh yeah, that's mine. Alright, so we'll get to see the whole battle system in a little bit more full action. We'll skip the tutorial for now. Oh, now you show up protocol. So I want to do a push. I got you, Mo, yeah. My new prices, I would imagine, should be like settled back to normal. So that is the other thing, is if you stack enemies onto a tile, one attack hits every enemy on that tile. But all I really need to do is just get rid of them at this point, because I can't move them any further than just going back and forth. So if you want to go back and check it out, Proto, what we talked about was cryptocurrency in terms of the viability of it. Talked about the viability of cryptocurrency in everyday transactions versus investment vehicles, and kind of why to a process of thinking of it in a certain way to just make sure you're not like overextending yourself. Alright, so now we have left assault, push assault, and heal, so we can do a little bit more maneuvering. But I don't know if you want to be putting your money into anything that Elon has mentioned offhand right now, Proto. And be throwing away that Japan trip money. Because that man is a whole sinking ship right now. That's the one in Chicago, right? I probably need to take a trip, honestly. I have not taken the trip. Besides combo break, and before that, it was a really long time. No, it's my chair. I have a wooden chair for my dining room table, so I have to keep on kind of shifting around. Uh, I probably do need to get a new office chair because this is also where my work setup is when I'm working from home. Oh, yeah. I don't know what to tell you about that. I don't think there's anything around here right now. So I think yeah, we can't do anything with those. We can save. So what did it say? There we go. Not looking forward to none of what. Oh, spending money on senior year for your kids. I do not have those problems yet. Excuse me. Still gotta get used to these buttons. I don't know why you always be making stuff up, Mo. Out here throwing out propaganda, libel, and slander. Got people thinking that you're telling the truth out here, and then you got Saki co-signing with you too. Damn, he just got took out real fast. And now we gotta come and see what some of this sniper, but ain't nobody here. And Proto, thanks for the follow. Proto, what I think I'm going to talk about next time is probably going to be just going over some general stock market concepts. I wanted to separate it just because I had already spent time talking about like cryptocurrencies. So I think next time it'll be like stuff like what going long means, what going short or something means, short selling, synthetic short selling, that kind of thing, calls, puts, so on and so forth, strike prices and stuff like that. And just like, again, kind of more informative concepts, so like if you read stuff, you know what it means. I'm not like overly fussed about it. I think at this point I just have to stream another couple of days. I'm still. Oh yeah, it's already like damn near 2 o'clock in the morning for you, Arthur. But yeah, you should hop off and get some rest. So appreciate it, that Arthur. And go USA. Good. That was a good game, Arthur. Great game, as a matter of fact. Magnificent game. Magnificent. I mean, hey, if we're looking at it in terms of competition, you beat Iran 6-2. Now we tied Wales, and then Iran came in, worked them 2-0. But all I'm saying is, if you guys couldn't even get a goal on us, and then you talk about Iran going to come out and give us the work, I don't know how that works. I don't know how that math. The math ain't mathing right now, though. That's all I'm saying is the math, it ain't mathing. I mean, you think the U.S. ain't ready to be wrestling dudes out there? All you really need to do is give the U.S. a reason to get in a fight with somebody. So we tied the UK, Mo, but that was honestly the best case scenario for playing England. It would have been better had Iran and Wales tied as well, because then neither of them would be 3-up. So it basically comes down to, it was going to come down to it either way, but it comes down to the U.S. and the Iran game. We have to win that game, so we have 5 points in the group play, and then goal differential doesn't matter, because if we tied, then it would come down to goal differential, and the fact that we had a bunch of ties would work against us. Iran, the fact that they lost 6-2 would help us, but that's kind of just leaving it to chance. So yeah, like, it's honestly, if for the U.S. to make it out of group play, we just have to win the game. That's all it is. Because then Wales is out. They're pretty much gone, I think, even if they win. And they're playing England next, so they're probably not going to win. So it's likely, the most likely scenario is England and the winner of the Iran-US game. Hopefully the US. So I wasn't even like listening to what they was talking about. But there's a chest down here, so it worked anyways. So we're being forced upwards. Yeah, appreciate it, Arthur. Have a good night. Dreaming about the red, white, and blue. And I'm not talking about the Union Jack. So basically what's going on right now is we were picking up a spy that was taking a look at the opposing forces' armaments, because our country is in the middle of a war. And we caught up with them kind of behind enemy lines, but the enemy lines are like right up next to our nation. The spy got taken out, and now they are kind of boxing us in. So we're kind of in a really bad way right now. And this is after our homie with the metal armor told us that he thought we were gonna die. Let's go ahead and look at the change tutorial real fast. So yeah, when you change positions with with anybody, you go into the status. So now you can switch places and have somebody else go to kind of position the enemies how you want. If you want to make a maneuver that somebody else cannot do. Or if you want to like group your people together. So that's how you can, yeah, like the game says, that's how you can make combos out of your actions. So yeah, right now we're in the status called Baroque status. For everybody that's red, it just means we take more damage, but as soon as we act, we're out of that status. So what we're gonna do is push them. And let's see. Then we'll have her do a push again. Kind of get them all lined up. And then what we're going to do now is we'll change with one enemy. So now we'll do change with her. We'll have her do a push to get him back into the back row. I have a left assault here, another left assault, because he should stop whenever he contacts this enemy here. And then we'll have an attack on this one. So now we got them all grouped up together and we were able to attack all of them at once with the last attack. So it's really interesting how you can manipulate like your enemy's position to be able to do a whole lot of damage at once. And I think the more combos you need, the higher experience you get as well. So it's also beneficial to do that. I'm assuming I still have to go upwards. Yeah, because that's still blocked off. So we were just getting rid of the guys that were trailing us. And there's a chest, but I can't do anything about these big ass boxes. So many of them with one dude. So anytime I hit somebody with that, I can knock him back out of it too. But I can knock somebody to sleep and have an advantage in the fight. So we do the stuff we did before. I think he should stop. The chicken should stop here. Yep. So we're lining them up again for the triple hit. And let's see. They separated again, so we're just going to do the same. But now we don't have to push them again. And just like that, they're cleaned up. And we have grapple. If I remember correctly, that move the timing on that. Grapple pulls them forward. Change. Stop. Do another left assault. And change her. And push them to the back row. Now we can just get rid of him. I don't know if we can. The timing on that hit. Okay, let's do a left and change and 2 pushes to get them into the back row. And then change again. Actually, get a push. No, I wouldn't be. Actually, let's change enemy, and let's try using grapple. So now we have 6 turns in a row. So let's see what we can do here. So left, push, and a grapple. Another push, another grapple, and then attack. Oh, didn't work. Wanted to get him linked up with the other dude. I probably need to do 2 pushes then. But we'll just finish off with some attacks. And then it's almost been 3.5 hours. And we have our next set of skills: Power Wave, Thunder, and Weakness Scan. So we can't go left, so we have to go right. And there's another dude. That's really freaking insistent. So you can also, as you can see, you can control preemptive attacks. So let's change the stop and do another left and change to her. Do a push. And trigger her again and have her use Thunder. And knock them all out. it should be coming towards the end of the prologue, so then we'll finish up there. Oh, what am I doing? I'm tripping. Shout out on him. There's like a lot of people to shout out, I guess. Excuse me. And it looks like somebody ratted us out. Which is ironic since we're being called rats, but whatever. And then, somebody remind me to make sure Saki gets this image. Don't want to forget about that. Add another husbando to her crew. Possibly. We'll see if she goes for it. So they're willing to sacrifice themselves so I can get away. And then this dude has some weird ass shit going on. And this girl we just met is already trying to save our lives. Ooh. Oh, there goes that. So I don't think I was supposed to run. I have no idea what I was supposed to do here. So I'm just gonna go out swinging and do absolutely nothing. Oh, good body. Damn. So they're dead, and now I'm about to get like annihilated by this dude. It looks like a mech. And now he's just out here like kind of gloating and talking shit. But he's not wrong either. And he was sitting here gloating the whole time. So we just said fucking and jumped into the river. Ooh. Nice little tight center like this. And of course we just laid out. Since we got our whole ass kicked by a dude with a spear. That's role playing in armor. And for anybody that was not there, those two kids were seen at the very beginning of the game in one of the other test streams. I think it was the third one. Talking about how they were trying to save the world and they failed. So that's off to a good start. And they fear something, but they're not really answering the question. Lifty and Tail. And we are in something called Historia. So there's the name of the game. So much dialogue and exposition. So we got a book right at the beginning of the game, I think also in that third test stream, called The White Chronicle from our boss named Heist. And if I'm reading this right, it's a time travel book. So because we were Boston, they had no option but to go north because they ostensibly knew where we were. That's kind of why we got ambushed. And apparently that was not the right decision, even though it was also the only decision at the time, which is a fluid concept in this game. Which is, yeah, that's what I just said. So now we're the dude with the finger on the button. So if I remember correctly, this game has something like 20 or 30 different quote-unquote endings. Or basically, like, you get to a decision tree and the story ends. And maybe I guess, see about exploring those. Because each one is, like, does have its own little twist on what's going on, so it helps flesh out the game itself. So now we have the power to go back in time and change our decisions. But only if it's supposed to occur that way in the grand scheme of things. And then let's get a little MC Escher going on. And now we're back here. But apparently the moon's carried over. And we're back right before that dude got shot. And because we know this, when homie got shot, we're gonna come here and get his ass out the way. So they're gonna fall back and let us go back into the path where we got ourselves killed. And instead we're gonna somehow go south. But I want to see if I can save it. And I can. So we'll have to resolve this decision tree later. Because that has been a long ass stream for a test. So I'll have to figure out who to raid. And let me see. We will raid Celila. So, thank you for everybody that popped in and joined the conversation. about finance and whatever else we were talking about. Thank you to the Brits for tying us 0-0, so we can go on to the next round after groups, hopefully. I am gonna raise Lila, who just started, I believe. Yep, she just started, so we're gonna raid her. And thanks for stopping by, everybody. Oh, I can't raise Lila? Yo, thanks, Mo. You have a good. I hope you have a good afternoon or evening at this point. And I hope that maybe you have the weekend off to kind of just chill. Okay, I cannot raise Lila. Let me try this. I just can't raid anybody, apparently. That's weird. Let me try it from my phone. Actually, what if I do it from OBS? Okay, there we go. So another instance of something that should be working later to Twitch not working. So we're gonna raise Lila. You guys have a good evening.